Hi, I'm Nisha DeGaring, host of Good Things Utah, and I've been a longtime supporter of Todd's Beliefcast. I hope you find inspiration in the courageous stories shared by the amazing people Todd features on his show. The guests serve as shoulders for us to stand on, allowing us to see a little further and cultivate belief in oneself. Remember, you have the dignity and power to change. I encourage you to keep striving and believing in yourself. Enjoy today's podcast.
Welcome back, everybody. This is Todd Sylvester, the host of the Beliefcast. Today on my show, I sit down with someone whose story will move you deeply. Shay Martin is a licensed mental health therapist, grief advocate, and powerful storyteller who has touched the lives of millions of people throughout her willingness to share both her love and loss. After walking beside her beloved husband, Tanner, through a 5-year battle with stage 4 colon cancer, Shay found herself navigating the unimaginable, becoming a young widow and a solo mom. Instead of shutting down, she chose to open up. Through her vulnerability and honesty, she has created a space where people feel seen, understood, and less alone in their grief. Today, she helps others navigate loss, relationships, healing, and the difficult process of rebuilding a life that looks very different than the one that they planned. Her message is simple but powerful. Even in the deepest grief, love remains and healing is possible. Shay, welcome to the show.
Thanks, Todd.
Yes, I'm super excited, and I'm so grateful that we got to connect here. You know, we're going to get to your story. I mean, you've touched millions of people all over the world because of, you know, what you and Tanner and your daughter has gone through. And just the way you've handled it, it's nothing less than miraculous and inspiring to me. I just want you to know that.
Thank you.
So, but I would like to maybe start with just getting people to know you a little bit more. Like,
Sure.
Where did you grow up, and maybe tell us a little bit about your family?
Yeah. I grew up in Mesa, Arizona, the beautiful weather of Arizona.
Yeah, right.
Very hot.
Very
compared
hot.
to Utah. But I'm the oldest of 4 kids. I was a very big music nerd. Everyone in my family is very musical.
Okay.
So, you know, I was an orchestra person.
Orc. I've never heard that before.
Yeah, that's what we called ourselves in high school. And I served an LDS mission in Arkansas.
Okay.
Didn't love it, but
Yeah.
it's okay.
Hey, you know, I like the honesty. I mean, missions aren't easly.
No, missions are
tough.
not easy. They are very difficult.
Yeah.
And then I went to school and I actually met Tanner when he was a missionary
Okay.
in Mesa, Arizona.
Oh, really?
Really?
Yeah. Okay.
So that's when we first met. I was just a senior in high school when I met him.
Okay.
And he was a brand new missionary.
A greenie. What do they call them?
Greenie.
Greenies. Yeah.
Yep, he was a greenie.
Yeah.
And that's when we initially met. We didn't start dating until 5 years later. So we kept all the mission roles.
That's good. Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's good to
Yeah.
clarify that.
Yeah, we kept the mission roles. We didn't,
Yeah.
So then we reconnected and
So when you saw him at that, early stages, did you know something was there when you first saw him?
I mean, I knew he was a very good man. He
Yeah.
was just very kind, very smiley, and extremely humble.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Obviously some qualities that really, you were attracted to,
Yeah.
obviously.
Absolutely.
That's great.
Mm-hmm.
So, you wait 5 years and then, you guys stayed connected and then you guys decide to get married,
Yes.
right? Is
Yeah.
that kind of how that happened?
Yes. So, we stayed connected over Facebook, and then I've actually recently been looking at our Facebook messages that we, back and forth from
Yeah.
the very beginning, and like he would come to Arizona to visit, and so he would come and visit my family because he was close with my dad, because my dad was bishop at the time.
Okay.
And then I would come up here to either see family or go on dates with other guys that I had been talking to,
Yeah.
and I would hang out with him.
Yeah.
And then one time our hangout turned into a make out, and then we
Right.
decided, well, let's date.
Yeah.
And then we got married.
Yeah, that's great.
Mm-hmm.
There's so much to talk about here, but I want to ask you a little bit, like, what are some lessons that you learned from your own parents that maybe you see kind of helped you not only navigate marriage, but navigate the loss of Tanner and what you've gone through?
Mm-hmm.
What were some of those lessons that you learned from your parents?
probably the biggest one that, well, it's actually a quote that my mom would say, and I believe she's quoting my aunt who, she's my great aunt. When she was really, really young, she was in a fire and her whole body was burned.
Oh man.
And she was valedictorian of her high school, and she got up to speak, and the only thing she said was hope for the best, plan for the worst, and take what comes.
Wow.
That's all she said in her
Really?
speech. Yes. And so like my mom has recited that to me growing up, and so when it came to facing cancer, that is something that was in my mind, is hope for the best, plan for the worst, and take what comes. And
Yeah.
Tanner and I did that 100%.
Yeah. Wow. Well, I know the world looked at you too, and the way you guys handled this was unbelievable, really. And again, very, very traumatic, very painful, and there was a lot of grief, obviously. But at the same time, seeing how you guys kind of rose above what was going on, I'm going to be honest with you. I watched Tanner's message, and he says, if you're watching this, it means that I've passed away.
Yeah.
I'm in my office here bawling my eyes out. But again, I was like, the positivity and the light and the energy that radiated from his message.
Yeah.
I was like, who is this dude?
Yeah.
Right? And again, I'm not telling you anything you don't already know.
He's a badass. Am I allowed to swear on him?
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
He's badass.
Badass. Oh yeah, we'll say it. Because He's definitely a badass.
Yes.
But I would say you're a badass too, Shay, honestly. So you guys get married, you have this vision of what your life's going to be. So just take us from there and then kind of explain what happened and when you heard the news, and then we'll go from there.
Sure. So Tanner and I got married in October of 2018. We actually have the same major in school. We were family science majors because we both wanted to be marriage and family therapists.
Okay.
Yeah. So we got to take classes together, which was really fun.
Yeah.
We had a lot of the same professors. We took a marriage and relationship skills class together. We took a human sexuality class and a parenting class, all really good things for newlyweds, right? Because we were taking classes together, I made sure he did his homework.
Yeah, I was going to say, did he cheat off of you? Like, hey, will you do my paper for me?
No, he didn't. But I knew, hey, you're playing video games right now, and I know you have homework.
Right.
So,
yeah.
So he was a very good student when we were in classes together.
Yeah.
But yeah, the first 2 years of marriage were just, we were young, 22, 23, 24, kind of during those years. And we both worked full time and went to school full time.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's tough.
Yeah, it was a lot. We were busy. Tanner worked full time at a call center, and I worked at a place doing taxes, and then I worked as a office manager at a sex therapy office.
Okay.
So yeah, that's just kind of what we were doing, is work and school and then play when we had time.
Yeah.
And Tanner's very, very social. So we had a lot of different groups of friends to hang out with.
Yeah.
Everyone loved Tanner. So
yeah,
he
you
had
can
lots of
tell
friends.
he's so outgoing and just loved life,
Yes.
to be honest.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
He absolutely did. Loved life, loved people. So yeah, that's kind of what the first 2 years were like. About halfway into our second year of marriage, Tanner started to have health issues, mostly tummy issues. And so we would go to a doctor and they would be like, well, maybe this is IBS or, and here's some medicine to help your tummy.
Sure.
And it would treat those symptoms for a while, and then something else would come up. We were doing, what's it called? We had a trainer at the gym.
Oh yeah. Okay.
For during that time.
Yeah.
And so Tanner's back started to hurt, and we just saw we were lifting, so
natural. Your back's
we hurt
hurting.
Ourselves.
Yeah, right.
Or whatever.
Pushed ourselves too much.
Yeah, pushed ourselves too much.
Yeah.
And then he started being really uncomfortable when he was sitting, and he worked at a call center. So
yeah.
he's got back issues and he's uncomfortable sitting. Like that was an issue. He couldn't sit for a long period of time.
Yeah.
He'd have to get up and go to the bathroom a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And so finally his primary care said, you should probably go see a gastrointestinal doctor, GI. And so we went to a GI and they looked at his gallbladder to see if his gallbladder was having issues. And finally they were like, well, let's just do a colonoscopy to see if there's anything going on.
Yeah.
And we got COVID when he was supposed to get his colonoscopy.
Oh, man.
Yes, because it was 2020.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So we got COVID, and so we had to delay it by, I don't know, 3 weeks maybe.
Oh, man.
We went down to Arizona to visit family, and he started hemorrhaging blood through his rectum.
Yeah.
When he's going to the bathroom. And so my uncle, who is a doctor, said, you guys should go to the ER. So we went to the ER and they did a CT scan,
Mm-hmm.
and they said, it looks like, there's these specks in your colon. It looks like you might have diverticulitis. It can be hard to diagnose colon cancer.
I've heard that. Yeah.
Yeah. So they didn't diagnose him there. They were like, oh, you have a colonoscopy next week? Okay. Just follow up with that. So Tanner did the fun prep for colonoscopy.
Yeah, I've had a few of those.
Okay,
and they're
good.
The prep is horrible.
The prep is horrible. I just had my first one.
Oh, yeah.
I think in December.
Yeah.
And it is horrible.
It is. Yeah, not fun.
So yeah, he did the prep, which I think was especially bad for him looking back because he had colon cancer.
Yeah.
So yeah, we went in, and Tanner went back for his colonoscopy, and colonoscopies are pretty fast in general, but the doctor came back really fast. And Tanner was in recovering, kind of coming out of anesthesia, and the doctor comes in and sits down, and he pats Tanner on his knee, and he says, do you go by Tanner? And Tanner's like, yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yeah, I don't know what else he'd go by.
Yeah. Right.
And he said, we were not able to complete your colonoscopy because about 10 centimeters into your colon, there is a tumor blocking almost your entire colon. And he said, I'm 99% sure that it's cancerous. So he said, I called my friend that's an oncologist. He is, what's it called? He's off work tomorrow, but he's going to come in just to see you. So he got him in the very next day. And yep, it was colon cancer.
Wow.
They thought stage 1 or 2 because he was so young. He was 25 when he was diagnosed. But a week later, they found out it was stage 4 because it had spread to his liver.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. I can't even imagine what you guys were feeling in that moment when they said, hey, we found a tumor. I can't even imagine what you were thinking.
Tanner was shocked. I immediately cried.
Yeah.
Because you hear tumor and you think cancer.
For sure.
And you hear cancer and you think they're going to die. Cancer's not, it holds a lot of weight, that word.
Yes,
so I just immediately just cried.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Understandable. What, in that moment, in those moments in the beginning at least, where did you find any kind of peace at all going through that? Or, you know what I mean? What did you lean on? I know you're a woman of faith and, I don't know if that was part of it too, and family members and stuff, but what does that look like?
Yeah. So we're both, Tanner and I are active members of our Christian religion. And, there was a talk that we read really, really early in Tanner's diagnosis. And it's called Faith Not to Be Healed. Yeah. And it was a very impactful talk to read. And it talks about a young man like Tanner who had cancer. Okay. And when you have cancer, anything's wrong, you're going to try to use as much faith as you can, right?
For sure, yeah.
To, have a miracle or whatever. And in this talk, this church leader asked this young man, do you have the faith not to be healed? Because that almost requires another level of faith. the faith not to be healed.
Yeah, I've never heard it that way, honestly. And
Yeah.
when you say it to me now, I'm like going, it's kind of like blowing my mind a little bit.
Yeah.
Like that is another level of even thinking that.
Mm-hmm. So that's what we heard really early on in Tanner's diagnosis.
Wow.
And it was especially impactful for me, because it just had me like, do I have the faith for Tanner not to be healed? What will it look like if Tanner's not healed? What will my faith look like? Do I actually believe the things that I say I do? Like, for me, this plan that, we're going to be with our family forever.
Yeah.
Even when they die, that puts it on of, all right, do you actually believe this?
Wow.
Yeah.
I have to say something. The late Neil A. Maxwell, he also had cancer at the end. And someone asked him in an interview, and I'm going to summarize this, okay? And the interviewer asked the Apostle Maxwell, do you think this isn't fair? I mean, you've served in your calling for, your entire life, and you do all this good in the world. Do you feel like God has like basically forsaken you? And Neil A. Maxwell's response was, no. He goes, now that I have this and I'm dealing with this, I can now testify of Jesus Christ with authenticity.
Oh, wow. Wow.
And I've never forgot, when I heard that, I was just like, my jaw dropped. I was like, I wasn't expecting that answer.
Yeah.
I was expecting like, yeah, this doesn't seem fair,
Yeah.
And I don't know, what do you think of that?
Well, it makes me think of like, I have not seen God's hand or Christ's hand more in my life than through people and how they have just loved us through cancer and after cancer. I really think we were able to see the goodness of God through other people.
Yeah.
So I can testify of that.
Yeah. And I can also say, I think people who followed your journey would say the same thing about you guys. You brought the light and the spirit and the love of God to everyone that witnessed what you went through. And I want to talk about that for a minute, because what made you decide, you know what, I want to talk about this. I want to share this journey with the world, because that's a very vulnerable thing to do, right?
Yeah, it is vulnerable. You
So
put yourself out there for people to say mean things to.
Right. So do you mind sharing like why you decided that, and then talk about that journey and how that helped you guys get through this?
Yeah. So initially I started sharing on social media immediately when Tanner was diagnosed.
Okay.
But it was just for the purpose of all of my friends and family having one place they could go to for updates.
Makes sense.
Instead of me answering a million text messages.
That makes sense.
So that's initially why I started sharing. And then as I just started sharing more and more, I got connected with more people that were caregivers like me, taking care of their really young spouse that had cancer. So, and I liked that. I liked getting this community because no one else in my group of friends was experiencing what I was experiencing. I was like an 80-year-old woman in a 25-year-old body.
Right.
Just because of like my husband has stage 4 cancer and he's probably going to die. And so like I didn't have anyone to relate to.
Yeah.
So my posting was like, okay, maybe I can find people and find community, which I started to.
Yeah.
And it started growing and growing, and TikTok was of course a big thing. And Tanner and I, we just, we're on there for pleasure.
Yeah.
And one random weekend, we were house sitting at someone's house, and and I just decided, why don't we post some videos on TikTok, like that have done well on Instagram.
Yeah.
And I think on Instagram at the time we had maybe like 4,000 or 5,000 followers. I think on TikTok I had like 200.
Right.
So we posted these 3 videos and grew to like 10,000 overnight on TikTok. And it started growing and growing. And that was in September. Was it in September? Yeah, I think it was in September of 2024. And so we like grew really, really fast overnight. And Tanner is very, like I said, he's very outgoing. He loves attention. And so he enjoyed the attention of
he's
going
like, this
viral.
is nice.
Yeah, he was like, oh, this is actually like kind of fun.
I can see that based on the personality I could get from the videos.
He's a performer.
Yeah.
So yeah, he's a performer. And so he was like, yeah, this is actually fun. Like, let's start making content to talk about what cancer's like.
Okay.
We knew that our story was unique because we were preparing for Tanner to die in advance, which a lot of people don't do because they think it's like taboo or whatever. Yeah. We had like went and bought our cemetery plots and, went and bought a burial package at the funeral home. And so we were like, let's share that part too. Yeah. We wanted to bring awareness to cancer first and foremost and what the experience is actually like. And then we wanted also to bring awareness to planning for your end of life.
Yeah.
And that's something I became super passionate about, because it's something in your control that you can do.
Yeah.
And you're taking care of the people you love before you die and after you die.
Yeah. And I would imagine most people probably don't do that, right? Is that your experience in talking to people?
Nobody does. Nobody does. And they don't have advanced directives. They don't have wills. They don't have part of the advanced directives and wills are like, what do I want done with my body?
Yeah.
What do I want my funeral to be like? Who do I want to speak? What songs do I want? And this one people don't think about a lot. What do I want my headstone to look like?
Yeah.
And so we did all of those things in advance. And people were like, that got a lot of attention because it's abnormal.
It is.
It's unique.
Yeah, so unique.
Yeah. So we started like slowly growing on TikTok, and then the world was like, or the United States, we're going to get rid of TikTok. It went through that.
I remember that, yeah.
So a lot of the followers came over to Instagram. And then for some reason, I had an Easter post on Instagram go very viral, and we grew really fast. So in a year, we went from like 5,000 followers on Instagram and 90,000 to 100,000 on TikTok to over 700,000 on TikTok and 600,000 on Instagram. Yeah, it was a very fast growth.
Yeah. Well, and it shows that there's so many people that are going, one, they were inspired by the way you guys were handling things, but then again, the information and saying, hey, here's what we're doing. And this is probably something people out there should consider doing too, getting ready just in case something like this happens.
Yes, 100%.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So as you two are going through this, I mean, again, obviously we see the heartache too, the crying and the pain and the grief. Talk about that for a minute. Like this, how did you guys navigate all that?
Before Tanner died? Yeah. So you experience something called anticipatory grief before someone dies. It's very common among like people and families where a family member has Alzheimer's. Yeah. Because you're losing them slowly. Yeah. Right. So you're slowly losing parts of them. And so that was my experience with Tanner, is I was slowly losing parts of him because I didn't lose him at a whole all at one time. That is what sudden death is like. You lose them all as a whole at one time. Slow loss is different, and it's a different kind of very slow torture.
I can't even.
Yeah. At the beginning, like Tanner couldn't work anymore, and like we grieved that. And at some point, he like we really couldn't go on dates anymore. We couldn't travel at some point. Yeah. Even sex, like at some point he was too sick for sex. Oh, man. And so it was just like slowly losing these parts of him, and it was torture, and it was a lot of grief.
Yeah. Did they give you a time frame? You know how they say we suspect this is how long he will live?
Yeah. So when he was diagnosed, they didn't, because they said he's so young, he can like do the most aggressive form of treatment for cancer, which we did. But like we Googled, Dr. Google.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. And Dr. Google said that the 5-year survival rate is less than 14%. So really low. And then when they told us like, hey, this is no longer curable. There's no way because it spread to other lymph nodes and it spread to his lungs. They said, you probably have 2 to 5 years. And the doctor said, I would be surprised to hear that you died before 2 years. And his oncologist said, some people can be on these chemo treatments for years, like 10 years.
Jeez.
And, and have their cancer be at bay.
Yeah.
But let's see, that was in 2023. They said 2 to 5 years. Okay. And it was just over 2 years when Tanner died.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. And like you said, you started losing things along the way, which is another added heaviness to the grief you guys were experiencing. Mm-hmm. So again, obviously very heavy, but yet at the same time, you guys were giving so much light to, I'm going to just say it, to the world that we're viewing. How did you recognize that was happening?
Not really. Like, I recognized that that we were connecting with communities and we were creating communities, and that felt really good. That felt like some purpose in my pain. But it was just shocking to me that so many people were just interested in our story. I've been like a pretty vulnerable and open person, and I'm like, wow, people are really resonating with how open we're being. And we're just, here living our lives. We just also happen to capture it at the same time.
Yeah. How did you know he did the video that he wanted played after? Did you hear what was on it before, or did you hear it after yourself? I was curious.
So he told me, hey, I'm going to make a video that I want posted when I die. And I heard the first part. Hey, everybody, if you're watching this, I'm dead. I heard that part. And I was like, I'm going to give him some privacy. So I just went in another room.
Yeah, gotcha.
And then I watched it when he died.
Yeah. Oh my, do you mind describing what that was like?
Well, the first thing he said, like one of the first things he said after he announced his death was to me. And like, just that he cared for me so much that he was like, hey, I made this video for you. And then he told the world, I made this video for Shay, so she doesn't have to post about it. And like, just that I was his first thought.
Yeah. Amazing.
Yeah.
Thinking of you. Yeah.
Thinking of me. He told the world that I love Swig and that Amy Lou probably would love milk.
I did like that.
Yes.
My wife loves Swig as well, so I got a good kick out of that one.
Yeah, it was funny.
Well, and again though, but how beautiful that was that he was willing to do that for you, thinking that far ahead. Again, we don't think of those things like you said, like you said, even planning for these things. You also have a young daughter at the time. Mm-hmm. I mean, so I don't know. Did that add to the grief? Do you think, knowing that you're gonna have to somehow explain to her one day?
Yeah, it does add to the grief. Because I just think like she is not gonna know her dad like everyone else knows him.
Yeah. And
Tanner we tried to be very intentional with. Tanner made her videos. He wrote her letters. He sang her songs. He read her books. We have all those things recorded. We have his life story recorded. And then we have all of these videos about him. And so like, I'm hoping that with that, she can just get a sense of who he was.
Yeah.
And that's our very best to try to, keep her connected to him. But it's sad. It's sad for her, and it's sad for me. Yeah. Tanner was very insistent on like, hey, I don't want you to be alone in this life, and I don't want Amy Lou to be without a dad. Yeah. So, he communicated to me numerous times and to his family numerous times, I want Shay to find love again. Yeah. I want her to remarry, and I want Amy Lou to have a dad on earth.
Wow.
Yeah.
Again, it says so much about Tanner.
Yeah.
My goodness. So beautiful. Thanks for sharing that.
Yeah.
You wrote in a post, I think it might have even been the most recent one, you wrote basically a response to Tanner where you said, no regrets, wouldn't change anything. Mm-hmm. And you hear that and you're like, does she really believe that? And I just want you to share, why are there no regrets, and why wouldn't you change anything? I want to take a moment to express my heartfelt gratitude to the incredible sponsors of the Beliefcast podcast. First, Craig from Craig Swap and Associates. If you need an attorney, he's your guy. Trustworthy, compassionate, always there when you need him most. Next, Wasatch Recovery, the greatest university on the planet, transforming lives one day at a time. Sandy from Minky Couture, the creative genius behind the most comfortable blanket you'll ever wrap yourself in. Comfort like no other. Special thanks to the award-winning pianist Paul Cardall for his beautiful music that brings inspiration to every episode.
Well, there are no regrets because we lived every moment intentionally, and we did every single thing that we wanted to do with the time that we had.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, would I change that, like, he didn't have cancer and he didn't die?
Right.
I would, but I can't change that. That was out of my control.
Yeah.
So Tanner and I took control of what we could. And that's why I have no regrets, because we were able to do that.
Yeah.
We lived like I said earlier, hope for the best. So I hoped for as much quality time with Tanner as I could. I didn't hope, like, I wasn't in a place of optimism of he's going to be healed and it's all going to be okay.
Yeah.
Because that was a little bit too roller coastery for me to be in that place.
Sure.
So I hoped for the best, which was hoping for as much time. We planned for the worst. We planned for his death, and then we took what came. And that was just enjoying all the time that we could together.
Again, wise words from your mom.
Yeah.
That she, I think, got from
her aunt,
her sister.
Her aunt, yeah.
Or her aunt.
Her aunt,
yeah. Sorry. Yeah. Wow. Isn't that amazing if you kind of think about it, like that was planted into you as a kid,
mm-hmm.
and yet here it is now helping you
mm-hmm.
in the moment you need it the most.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously we talked about, you relied on God a lot,
mm-hmm.
and you saw God's hand, like you said, so many times, every day, I'm sure. And how has it been since he's passed? Are you still seeing God's hand in everything? And has it been even more difficult than you ever imagined? Or you describe that for us.
Yeah. So I have for sure continued to see God's hand, especially in the people that are closest to me. And I am trying to be God's hand for other people.
Mm.
I am still in my grief, and I still have my grief come up, but turning pain into purpose is something that I heard Katie Bunnell say. That's something I
love Katie.
Yes. She is great.
Yes.
Yeah.
And thanks to Katie, that's why I'm sitting here talking to
Shay
right now. Yeah.
Thanks, Katie.
Yeah. Thanks, Katie. Shout out to Katie.
Yeah. So Katie has turned her pain into purpose with her nonprofit she has.
Yeah.
And I am trying my best to be God's hand and turn pain into purpose as well.
Yeah. That's so cool. It's great to have people like Katie that we can look up to and see, and so many amazing examples. I really believe this, Shay, that I think people are astonishing.
Yeah.
Would you agree?
Yes,
yeah.
100%.
And I think people look at you and say, she's astonishing. How does that feel?
It feels weird.
Right?
Yes, it does. Because I'm just like, people... Go ahead.
No, go ahead. Sorry.
Oh, I was just going to say, like, it's strange to me when, because I have large following, when people see me in public and they're like, oh my gosh, you're Shay.
Yeah.
And I'm like, hey, I'm just a normal person who happened to go viral. Like, I don't feel like I'm anything special.
Yeah.
I'm just open with my story. So it is weird when people say that.
Yeah, I'm sure it feels a little awkward. Again, you're a very humble person, and but it's true though. I've had so many people sit where you're sitting, sharing stories of overcoming, and I'm just every time I'm reminded again today, hearing you, people are astonishing, and I'm just grateful for your willingness to be vulnerable and share this journey with the world, because I again, you know this more than I do, the people that have reached out to you. I was reading a bunch of the comments on all your posts. I was just like, holy cow.
Yeah.
I mean, people just needed your message,
Yeah.
So So you're a licensed therapist now,
Mm-hmm.
and you're a grief advocate. For those who may not know what a grief advocate is, just you explain that and tell us what you're trying to do with that.
I would just want everyone to have space to grieve the way that they need to. Yesterday, I was actually doing my own podcast with a guest yesterday, and one of the things she said was, there are no rules in grief. And I believe that. I just add the little disclaimer, make sure you're not doing anything harmful to yourself or other people.
Yeah.
But other than that, like, I don't think there's rules. There's not a timeline. And then I think that people need space to have their grief witnessed. I'm a certified grief educator. David Kessler, I don't know if you're familiar with him. Yeah.
Right on.
So yeah, I'm certified through his program.
Dang.
And he talks about the most healing thing that you can do for someone is to witness their grief. Yeah.
Dang, that it's deep.
Yeah. It's just sitting there and listening. You're not trying to fix it.
Yeah.
And, you know, if you think about the word witness, you know, in the world of whatever, cops or FBI, like, as a witness, you ask questions, you are asked questions.
Yeah.
And so when you're witnessing other people's grief, you ask questions about the person they love that they lost, because I can tell you that they want to remember them. They're scared that they're going to forget them. And so, yeah, you asking them questions, it might bring up sadness for them, but they are comfortable with that sadness because they love the person that they lost.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah. That, and they have the 5 stages of grief, but it's never linear, right? I mean, you jump around, and like you said, it's everyone does it differently too, right? There's no one way that someone grieves. And, I know, like, in the moments where I've had some grief in my life, and to be able to just cry in front of someone and this is what I'm feeling right now, and just let them listen, has been so therapeutic and helpful, right? It's kind of cool too to think, despite what happened, we wish Tanner was here, obviously, but yet here you are, you're going to be in this position, and you already are helping people go through the very thing that you had to go through. How does that tie in to kind of like your belief system moving forward?
Yeah, so like I'm doing this coaching business, and I don't even like to call it coaching because like with grief witnessing, you are not doing anything to fix. You're not even giving them tools. All you're doing is sitting with it and letting them lead and where they want to go. And so I lost my train of thought. What was your question?
Well, do you feel like you can handle that because of what you went through? Because people might think, man, that's heavy for you to sit there and witness someone's grief all the time.
Yeah.
But is it fair to say, well, I've been through it myself, so therefore it gives me the strength to do it?
I think people that have gone through grief are the best at witnessing other people's grief.
Yeah.
And I think that they are comfortable in the sadness and not feeling like they need to fix it, because you can't fix it, right?
Yeah.
You can't bring back their loved one.
Right.
And they know that because they've been through grief. I know that because I have been and am going through grief.
Yeah.
And so like I feel like I have the capacity and the understanding of what it looks like to just sit with it.
Yeah. Beautifully said. Thank you. If I know this is going to be a tough question,
okay.
But if you look at, the journey that you've been on with Tanner and what you guys went through, is there something that you learned that surprised you through that process, or something that stands out above all the other lessons? Because I'm sure there's a million lessons you've learned.
Yeah.
There's a few even that stand out.
Let me think. I've spent a lot of my life planning. I'm a planner. I'm a type A.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
But the thing with planning and being a type A person is that it takes you out of the present.
Mm-hmm.
And I learned that if I was going to constantly be focusing on the future, I was going to miss the present, and I was going to likely be very anxious.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And I was very anxious
Sure.
when Tanner was diagnosed,
Mhm.
because what about all of our plans?
Yeah.
Right? And all the things in the future. And then like even going through cancer, trying to control the uncontrollable there.
Yeah.
Again, taking me out of the present. And so I have learned to live in the present. And I'm not perfect at it, but I know that I feel better, and my time spent is way more intentional and enjoyed if I'm living in the present versus planning for the future.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, love that. What do you love most about Tanner?
Probably what I love most about Tanner is probably his love for everyone.
Yeah.
Like the last words on his little video was, be kind to each other
Yeah.
and assume good intent.
Yeah.
And that just shows like Tanner is just love.
Yeah. Again, bawled my eyes out.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's amazing. You know, I typically ask this question, you know, I'm going to ask it in two ways. First way I'm going to ask, if Tanner was sitting with us right now, what would you want to tell him right now?
I talk to Tanner like very often.
Do you? Great.
Yes. But I would tell Tanner that I am doing my best to continue his legacy. And the most important thing with his legacy is loving his daughter and making sure that she is taught to love herself first.
Yeah.
And if she loves herself, she'll love people unconditionally as well. And that was really important to Tanner,
Yeah.
you know, that she is loved and that she loves herself.
Yeah.
So I just want him to know that I'm doing that.
Yeah, beautifully said again. And, you know, the clients I even work with, it comes down to that, right? It's getting to this place where you do love you again.
Yeah.
You know, and then when you love you, you can give away love all day long,
Yes.
right? Beautifully said. If there's someone that's tuned into this episode today listening to you, Shay, and they're in a dark place and they're struggling and they're sad and they're listening right now, what would you tell that person right now?
I think the first thing that I would tell them is that they don't have to earn their worth. There's nothing they have to do to earn their worth. Nothing they have to be. That just by them being born and being present in this world makes them worthy and makes them worthy of love from other people. And there's nothing they have to do to earn it. And if there's someone that makes them feel that way, they do not need to be in their life.
Yeah. Dang. That's powerful.
Thanks.
I love that. Is there anything else you'd like to share before we wrap things up? I mean, you've shared such a beautiful tribute to Tanner, and again, the way you guys live your life is it really is inspiring to so many, including myself.
Yeah. Well, it's March right now, and March is Colorectal Cancer Awareness Month. And so in Tanner's words, I would just tell everybody to get your butt checked.
There we go. Yes, let's do that. Let's
Tanner's
get our butts checked.
words.
Yeah. I wasn't expecting that one, but thank you. That's awesome.
Sorry, it was the first thought that came to my mind.
No, it's beautiful.
So
Yeah, everyone get your butts checked.
get your butt checked.
If people want to follow you who maybe don't know you, which a lot of people do now, but if they want to get to know more about what you do and your journey, and you know, maybe even ask you a question and
Sure.
you know, reach out to you, what would be the best way for them to do that?
Yeah, so we are at Tanner and Shay on TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube. And then my podcast is Grief Witnessed. And I will have a link in my bio to my website for grief coaching and grief witnessing as well. So they can come and talk to me there.
Great. And I'll put those links up too when we go live. Yeah,
Thanks.
absolutely. And we'll push people in that direction. But yeah, I again, thank you for taking some time today with me.
Yeah,
and
it was a pleasure.
Thank you. And this is like a sacred moment for me.
Oh.
So thank you so much. And I know, you know, I'm sure Tanner is very happy and proud of you and the way you're still continuing to do things. I'm sure he is. And but thank you for being a light to the world, light to me, and just helping us realize that even though we can go through something really difficult, we can still find the love in it and we can still heal from it. I think that's the message. It's a simple one, but it's powerful, right?
Yeah.
We can get through anything, kind of thing.
Yeah.
So, you're amazing and astonishing.
Thanks, Todd.
Just like I think everyone is. But thank you for taking that time, and I appreciate your words today.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for having me.
You bet. Well, there you go, folks. Shay Martin. The links are right there. Click on her profiles and her bio, and if you need help with grief, sign up with her. She obviously knows what you're going through, and please follow her. Ask her some questions, and I just can't wait for this to go live. If you have a loved one who's struggling, and it doesn't even have to be around someone who passed away, if they're struggling in general, send them a link to this episode and have them listen to Shay. It will inspire them, it'll help them, and then you can follow up with some questions, and it'll be another way to maybe witness and be a witness of their grief, to do that. So thanks to my sponsors. Without you, I wouldn't be able to do this. I love you guys so much. And for all the listeners, you guys are the best. We wouldn't be where we're at without you, and I love you for it. So take care, everyone.